Hi, this is Steve at blessedhope2018.com. The numbers 11, 20, 21, 22, 222, they just keep surfacing everywhere I look, and I've been looking for a long time, and they have been surfacing for a long time, and often in relation to the number 770, 77, 777, and 8, and so on. Now, we haven't seen anything like this as it concerns other numbers. You won't see that with any other number. At least I don't believe that we do. And so I'm going to go through some of this. This is going to somewhat intrigue you, perhaps. I'm going to do something that I've never really ever done before. I'm going to issue a challenge to everyone out there to take a look at these numbers and try to make sense of it, sort it out, look at it, tell me what you think about it. If you see something that seems interesting or that stands out about any of this, I just ask for you to pass that along, because this is one of the most intriguing series of, or a compilation of numbers that I've ever seen as it relates to all of this. You know, we're at a point now where as many of you know, I started my series on Romans, but in order to honor those who have subscribed to this channel because of the prophetic videos that we do, I felt it necessary. I felt like I owed it to those viewers to go back and forth from Romans, not just completely abandon the prophetic aspect of this ministry, but to take and continue to look at what seems to surface in all this. We are at a point in what you might say that our prophetic end times, last days watch period, in which a lot of Christians have just really kind of become discouraged and disheartened. And so I want to begin by just reminding everybody that we've just now really begun we've just now really gotten into the Hebrew year 5778, and 2018 is not over by a long shot. And it doesn't make any sense to me to start really dragging our feet as we get, before we even get through 2018. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully you'll find this encouraging. I know I did. We are in the century 2000. You see the number 20 in the century that we're in. Trump's inauguration was January 21. Feast of Trumpets 2017 was September 21 and 22. If you remember, the eclipse was August 21, 22, and of course Pentecost, according to the Hebrew calendar, was May 21, 22, and of course summer solstice was June 21. As you've seen, many of you have seen in the timelines, our most recent timelines, the midpoint appears to point to 2022. If the rapture occurred in 2018, the midpoint would be 2022. Billy Graham's death, February 21, 2018, to October 1, 2018, is 222 days. If you remember, October 1 is Shemini Atzeret, 8th day, Solemn Assembly. That's twice 111. October 1, 2018 is day 22 on the Hebrew calendar. America was attacked on September 11, 2001. Jesus was born on September 11. 11 times 2 is 22. 2 times 111 is 222. And of course we know that 8 times 111 is 888, which is the numerical value of Jesus, or Jesus in the Greek. Jesus' birth, September 11, 3 BC to September 11, 2018, is 20 years. So we have 2 2s there, and as well as 2 20s. Christ, the word in the Greek, there for Christ in Philippians 1:1 is 2020. Strong's Hebrew 2020 equals deliverance or escape. Strong's Greek 2020 is to grow light or to dawn. Jesus' birth, September 11, 3 BC to October 1, 2018, is 20 years and 20 days, to be exact. 20. I told you this is strange. Strong's Greek 20 is exceeding joy. 20 is twice 10. And is seen to represent a complete or a perfect waiting period. 21 represents sin, wickedness, and rebellion. 22 is double 11, which symbolizes disorder and chaos. It's like this is like what we're going through right now. We're passing, it seems, to me at least, we're passing through this phase in history. Israel reborn May 14, 1948 to May 21, 2018. Pentecost is 70 years, 7 days. Creation Day 1, May 5, 3980 BC, that's according to Torah calendar, to May 5, 2021 AD, would be 6,000 years. The 6,000 years could actually end in the tribulation period. Trump's inauguration, January 21, 2017, to the fall equinox, September 21, 2025, is 8 years, 8 months. Trump's birth, June 14, 1946 to January 21, 2017, 70 years, 7 months, 7 days. January 21, 2017 to the eclipse, August 21, 2017, 7 months. January 21, 2017 to September 21, 2017 is 8 months. Atonement, the Day of Atonement 2018 is September 20. Fall equinox 2018 begins September 22. Tisha B'Av 2018 is July 22. That's just coming up here. Last day of Hanukkah in 2025 is December 22. The night before Jesus was crucified, if you go by the 34 AD year, is March 22. And of course, 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, 22 chapters in Revelation, and the last verse of the Bible, Revelation 22:21. And we know God created 22 things in the 6 days of creation. The days between eclipses, August 21, 2017, to April 8th of 2024, these two major eclipses, is 24-22 days. And I have to throw into all of this the number 120, which I'll talk about later, in which exists the number 21 inversed. So just looking at those three numbers, 20, 21, and 22, just singling those three out. If we were to try and express the meaning or the symbolism or what these numbers represent in a sentence, it would be a complete or perfect waiting period within a period where sin, wickedness, rebellion, disorder, and chaos exists. And it matters not that we are able to know with certainty the exact date of the rapture by these numbers. I don't believe that they were intended to do that. What I'm forced to see is that those numbers associate themselves with dates related to significant signs and events, both within and before our generation, which have caused many Christians to look up because their redemption draweth nigh. That's a fact that cannot be disputed. Now, what I find interesting about, and it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month in the second year, that the cloud was taken up from off the tabernacle of the testimony. And we find this number, I'll talk about this, but we find this in Numbers 10:11. And as you see, I've drawn a straight line here to September 10 and 11, Day of Trumpets, 2018. If you look at Ellicott's commentary for English readers, you'll see that many of the commentators are actually in agreement that the encampment at the foot of Mount Sinai had lasted 11 months, 19 days. 11 months, 19 days. Or 353 days if you counted it in days. That's Numbers 10, and 11. It's this that I want to kind of focus in on for just a moment. Looking at the original text, and keep in mind that you read from right to left on this Hebrew original text. And it came to pass in the year second, in the month second, on the 20th of the month, was taken up. Okay. Cloud. That the cloud from over the tent of the testimony. This word, taken up, literally is the word is to go up, to ascend, or to climb. This is the word for the cloud, and it is in the Hebrew. It's pronounced Allah. It has a remarkable 888 occurrences. Now this describes Numbers 10 and 11, which describes the cloud. I'm going to read this. Now in the second year, in the second month, on the 20th of the month, the cloud was lifted from over the tabernacle of the testimony. And the sons of Israel, they set out on their journeys from the wilderness of Sinai. Okay. Then the cloud settled down in the wilderness of Paran. So they moved out for the first time according to the commandment of the Lord through Moses. The standard of the camp of the sons of Judah, according to their armies, set out first. And you can go on and read the rest, pause this if you want, read the rest of this. So I'm going to highlight several of the points that I underlined here. That the tabernacle was taken down. And then in verse 28, I believe, or 29, we are setting out to the place of which the Lord said, I will give to you. What this is describing, folks, in quite simple terms, is it's that they were they were camped out there before Mount Sinai for this particular period of time, a very particular period of time, before that they began their journey into the wilderness, where that God went before them in the pillar or the cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night, guiding them, directing them, protecting them. And so here's my question. Could this 11 months, 19 days, or 353 days, which is 12 days short of a full year, from when Israel came to Mount Sinai to when God, the cloud, began leading his people through the wilderness to the land of promise, could it foreshadow the 11 months and 19 days from the Revelation 12 sign in 2017 to the Feast of Trumpets, September 11th, 2018? That's the question. I don't know. I do know that Strong's Greek number 353 is to take up or receive up. And we actually see that word in Mark 16:19 of Jesus' ascension. So then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. That word, received up, that's this word. 353 days, 12 days short of a year. This period, I was kind of stunned to see that it just actually came out to be 11 months, 19 days exact from the Revelation 12 sign in 2017 to Feast of Trumpets, September 11th, 2018, and that Strong's Greek 353 is the word used for Jesus' ascension. Now, God appearing to Israel on Mount Sinai and their receiving the law is related to Pentecost. We know that. The Jews celebrate the giving of the law on Pentecost. Pentecost, the birth of the church and the receiving of the Holy Spirit, as well as the church receiving the very fulfillment of the law, the embodiment of the law himself, Jesus Christ. It actually has a relationship to the Revelation 12 sign, the birth of the male child, and our departure, the rapture, has a relationship to God leading and guiding and providing for his people, Israel, through the wilderness of the tribulation period. wilderness wandering. It refers to the plight of the Israelites due to their disobedience. Remember, if they didn't obey God, God said that they would perish in that land. So Israel wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Yea, 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing, their clothes waxed not old, and their feet swelleth not. Nehemiah 9:21. Notice the numbers 9:21. Nehemiah 9:23. I had to look at that. It's interesting. You made their sons numerous as the stars of heaven, and you brought them into the land which you had told their fathers to enter and possess. So, September 23, 1977 to September 23, 2017, the Revelation 12 sign is 40 years. 40 years. If we calculate from that same date, September 23, 1977 to September 11, 2018, it's 40 years, 11 months, 19 days. So I had to ask myself, what happened in Jewish history on September 23rd, 1977? Well, guess what I found? Absolutely nothing. Except 40 years does represent a generation. Are there several generational factors and not just one? Yes, there is. If you remember from last year, 1897, the year of the First Zionist Congress, plus 120 years, judgment equals 2017. 1917, the year the Balfour Declaration was issued, plus 100 years, captivity equals 2017. 1948, the year Israel was reborn as a nation, plus 70 years, which is captivity prophecy fulfilled, equals 2018. And 1967, the year Jerusalem was retaken by Israel, plus 50 years, that's, a jubilee, deliverance, is 2017. So yeah, I believe that we should take note of this 40-year generational factor as well. According to Jewish history and culture, we know that an adult male is considered mature at age 30. And this is also the required age for priesthood, folks. When Jesus said in Matthew 24:32 that when the fig tree has budded, that's birth, and spreads forth its leaves, that's maturity, that generation will not pass until all prophecy is complete. Israel became a nation in 48. It reached maturity in 78. So 1978, the year Israel reached maturity, plus 40 years testing, is 2018. It's not time to give up yet. It's not time by any means to throw in the towel. The exact 40 years of testing may not have ended May 14, 2018. It may have actually just begun the final 40th year of testing. May 14, 2018 to September 11, 2018 is a remarkable 120 days. 120 days. The same numerical value that's related to Billy Graham. Strong's Hebrew 120 we know is Adam or mankind or man. And Strong's Greek 120 is to be disheartened, dispirited, broken in spirit. And how about this? Exodus 13:21. What we read there is, and the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. The Hebrew word pillar has a gematria value of 120. You can't make this stuff up. Strong's Hebrew 120 is Adam or mankind. Verse 111 is, I know I'm jumping tracks on it here. Verse 111 is which, because this is another interesting number, is Genesis 5:5, And it describes the years of Adam, where it reads, and all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Strong's Greek 111 is lawless. And remember that the cloud or pillar that was taken up, ascended, the word ascend, okay, we're looking at 888 occurrences. That's 8 times 111. Psalms 95:10. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. The generation of Israel, folks, that experienced the exodus from Egypt, the parting of the Red Sea, the receiving of the law on Mount Sinai, and all of the miraculous events of that period, no other generation would again experience that. It was a definite time determined by God, and would be the foundation for succeeding generations of Israel. The same can be said of the generation when Israel returns to the land in the latter days. It is a specific period that will usher in the time of Jacob's trouble to the Jewish people, and a time of tribulation for the Gentile nations. When God destroyed the world in the flood, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses was on Mount Sinai for 40 days when he received the 10 Commandments. Elijah fasted for 40 days when Jezebel was pursuing him, and we know that our Lord was led away by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil for 40 days. So we know that the number 40 is associated with a period for judgment and testing, whether they be an individual or a nation. I love you all. I truly do. Keep looking up. If you found this to be encouraging, I'd love to hear back from you. Until next time, thanks for listening.